Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar on Certified Mail Made Easy. I'm 𝒂𝒏𝒕, and I am a shipping specialist at Pitney Bowes, supporting New England and New York State, and I'll be your host for today's session. Before we begin, I'd like to go over a couple of housekeeping items. First, I hope you can all hear me clearly. If at any point you experience an issue, please just let us know in the chat box and our technical team will assist. Next, we encourage you to participate throughout the webinar actively. We've scheduled a Q&A session at the end, but also feel free to share your questions or comments during the presentation and we can address them as they come up. And lastly, please keep your mics muted during the webinar. And now, without further ado, I'm pleased to introduce our esteemed guest, Tom Hazel. We are fortunate to have him here with us today to share his valuable insights and practical tips. Tom is the VP of our Carrier Solutions, and he has 37 years of expertise in equipment service, sales, carrier software solutions, logistics, operations, e-commerce shipping, and leadership, and probably 20 other things I'm leaving out. He currently collaborates with our product development, engineering, and education teams to enhance client understanding of our cloud-based shipping and mailing solutions. His dedication to sharing his knowledge is evident through his client educational webinars, such as we're having today, and industry event appearances, including speaking engagements at NACOMS, CUMSA, and Postal Customer Council events. Tom, thanks so much for joining us today. We're excited to have you here, and I'm sure the audience is eager to learn more about how we can help with certified mail return receipt.
All right, Christine, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And maybe 10 or more, not 20. We'll see what goes. So thanks, everyone, for your time today. Appreciate it. Time's so valuable. We never have enough of it in any given day. And if Monday's an off day, then the rest of the week's a nightmare. So we appreciate you, and we appreciate your time today. But as Christine said, this is your webinar. So if you have questions, feel free to ask them. You know, raise your hand. If you need clarity around anything I'm talking about, we encourage that because this is an opportunity for us to answer live with you. Of course, we can, get back to you later if you wish, if you're feeling shy today. So, but we have you covered no matter what. So I want to first give you a little background on return receipt, certified electronic. So it was first introduced by the post office in 2003. So it's a 20-year-old product from the post office that we've been engaged in helping the post office promote and also move clients to for the last 20 years. I would have to say that the transition's been a slow transition for the first 5 to 10 years, but in the last 10 years, aggregate speaking, I mean, there's a tremendous amount of clients that are now using certified return receipts that are electronic in lieu of the green card. And when you think about it, everything we do today is becoming more and more paperless, right? You necessarily don't get your statements in the mail anymore. You necessarily don't sign anything when you swipe your credit card at the gas station or whatever have you, and you sign electronically, even to close when I moved to Florida, without ever picking up a pen. So it's a different world we live in, and a lot of it was due to the Electronic Signatures Act, which was enacted by our government, and that happened back in 1999. So the uniform law basically states that the electronic signature is good as a wet signature, and it's adopted and carried in all 49 states, including the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, and U.S. Virgin Islands. But it also includes New York. But New York has their own standard and their own framework around the program. But basically, it indicates that the courts accept electronic as good as wet signatures. And the courts have accepted electronic return receipt now for 20 plus years. So it all stands up in court. In fact, the federal government, state and local governments are some of our biggest users of certified return receipt, as is, the legal community, as well as the healthcare community, the insurance community, which obviously are highly regulated in many ways. They all have moved into this level. So electronic signature is good as a wet signature with a pen. So that's covered out, right? I did include, and you will get a copy of this presentation in PDF, that New York has their own Signatures Act and Records Act, and obviously it states the same, but that's adopted individually as a state versus the national situation. But it is in fact covered. So what is electronic return receipt when you get it back, and what does it look like? That's really kind of important. So instead of getting back a 3x5 green card, it was literally been through the war, because it's been on the back of an envelope all the way to its destination. It was signed and torn off, and it makes its way back through the post office system and all their sorters once again to get back to you, the end mailer. So it's taken a beating by the time it's gotten around the horn. From a standpoint of carbon neutrality, it is helping the post office contribute towards their carbon neutrality standards and goals, which are by 2025. This has become a large part of it. The same situation is going on around their express mail and limiting those forms as well and moving electronic. And ironically, the same platform I'll show you today can also handle that type of a situation as well as packages for the post office and other carriers. So the electronic return receipt comes back in a digitized PDF document. They come back as individual records. So the file comes back with, on their letterhead is their information, obviously United States Postal Service. You'll see the delivery location, the article number at the top. Then you'll see the embedded signatures and any street address information that was entered in the end by the signer or the letter carrier that's delivering the mail piece. Additionally, if in the process of doing electronic return receipt, you include a reference number of some type, think any number you may use, a case number, a tax ID number, a client ID number, business participant number, whatever you use, if you included that in your process of doing electronic return receipt, that also ends up on the physical document and actually becomes a part of the naming of the document if in fact you do use that as a purpose. So that is electronic return receipt versus a green card. It's PDF, it's digitized. It can remain within our applications for up to 7 years, which meets federal government requirements. Or if you want, you can email it to yourself, you can download it, you can save it, you can upload it into your systems, you can do whatever you want with it, but it's already digitized. You know, some clients today take those green cards and send them back to the sender within the organization, if in fact they remember to put their name on them, and then they'll staple them to their, you know, maybe their file folder, maybe they put them in a drawer, maybe they scan them and just put them in a file on their desktop called return receipts. You know, there's so many ways within one single organization that has, you know, I've seen. And if you ask in a meeting of a number of different people from an organization, likely you're going to get 4 or 5 different ways people save the green cards manually today, including the mail center just holding them in the mail center, which probably isn't practical either, but it can be the case too. So
Tom, I had there's a quick question here, Tom, if you don't
Sure.
mind. Said, will you be touching on organizations having multiple departments and how each department will be able to retrieve their electronic return receipt? Will they have to sift through all the electronic return receipts and pick theirs out from the entire list, or can these be organized somehow by department?
It can actually 100% be sorted by department, even down to user level. 100% correct. Yes, you can. Great question. Great question. So filling out the green card, you got to fill out the front of the green card, check a handful of boxes, flip the card over, fill out the other side of the green card, which is your return information. Rule number 1, these are never filled out correctly. I mean, I do them occasionally for tax purposes once in a while. Should they send me a letter saying we want to look at your taxes a little closer? And I go to the window and have it right, and they're amazed because most folks don't fill these out correctly, and the post office knows it. So they're trained to check them thoroughly. Did you put your return address on and things like that? Other cases, they're too busy to think about it, so it can go through without that information. So you got to fill out the front, which is destination, fill out the back, which is your information. And again, some people forget to put their own name on them. So it comes back to the company, but then who do they give it to? Do they give it to Chris Feedy? Do they give it to Tom Hazel? They don't know who to give it to. If it's a large organization, it's becoming more and more difficult, right? Then when they finish all that, there's a little tiny 1/8 of an inch sticky you got to peel off of this label and apply it to the green card. Then you take the green card, you put it on the back of the envelope. You take this label, and part of that green has to go over the top edge of the envelope, and the rest goes over the front of the envelope. The reason for that is that in a tray of mail, the post office can identify a certified mail piece by that green it sees on that mail piece. It does, in fact, stick out, and even in a tray of 250, which is roughly a 3-foot tray. So it does stand out significantly. Then you meter it in any way you, or post it in any way you post it, and then you drop it in the mailbox, or some people go to the post office and get it signed for, and then keep the receipt as well. And then the game begins, right? You wait for this to come back. And maybe, you remembered to, acknowledge and keep a record of that number somewhere so that you can go online and track and see if it's been delivered right in here. So when has it been delivered yet? You can go online. If you remember to note that number, then you can then go look it up at USPS.com one at a time. When it comes back, if it comes back, you have then the option of what you do with the green card. Now, many times you'll get a green card back without a signature. What happened? What happened is the green card became dislodged from the back of the envelope in their process. And all the post office is going to do is put it back online, which means it's coming back to you by itself without a signature. And this is, an infuriating situation. I know, I'm well aware of it. I've heard it from many a client. And then you have to then go to the post office and try to get a refund for that green card, which is painful in its own regard for many reasons. And that's why many people don't even bother. They're like, okay, whatever, I'll do another one. But it does become dislodged. That's why they come back unsigned. If you ever wondered why that happened, there it is. So in the electronic world, you're avoiding the green card entirely. And I'll walk you through the steps in a second of how it's done. But you're eliminating the green card in its absolute entirety. You could be eliminating the label in its absolute entirety, depending on your workflow and how you want to do things. So when it gets to the post office, it's already prepared, has postage. And again, that information is also transmitted electronically through our application to the post office. So your information, delivery address information, the postage information, all that gets transmitted to the post office. And yes, if you generate a firm mailing book for proof of acceptance, our system can generate a firm mailing book as well. So you have that upon record, and you can get that round stamp by the post office. So now the system is monitoring, the product we offer is monitoring all those mail pieces to see when they're delivered, what stage of the process they're in with the post office in a bulk manner. So every single return receipt that's out for delivery and that you have mailed is being looked at every single day to see if there's any latest updates and scans by the post office, so we can give you the latest information, including you do have the signature back and it's ready for you to view, download, send to others, whatever you want to do with it. So once it's signed for, we are retrieving it, obviously, since we're monitoring it. It comes back into the application. And then at that point, you can leave them in the application. Again, we can keep the data for up to 7 years in PDF form for you within the app, or you can download them one at a time. You can download them in bulk, say you want a month's worth or everything that's signed for a specific period of time, and then you want to upload them into your systems. You can do that too. There's a myriad of different ways you can, take care of those certifieds. If you want to get them back on your client's own record, within your own applications or CRM systems or client matter systems or case systems, you certainly can do that as well within the application. So again, this is electronic return receipt. It's eliminating the green card in its entirety. And yes, there is a savings. There's a savings of $1.35, which is very significant from a cost saving standpoint. Many companies struggle trying to pre-sort their mail and saving, say 6, 8 cents, 9 cents a piece when you have an opportunity to save $1.35 per piece in this environment. But really more importantly is the information is helping you from a compliance and a green standpoint. Compliance from a standpoint of everybody is doing it the same way. So you have a closed loop process that everybody in your organization is following. Even if they use various methods within the app, it's still closed loop in its entire process, which is really important to understand. You're eliminating the handwriting, label printing to apply to the piece, or whatever way you may do it. And everything is sent electronically and efficiently through the post office and received in the same exact fashion. So it makes it very simple. Again, if you do utilize a reference field, that information does appear in the actual document itself. And the naming rights of the document would also contain that information as well when the PDFs are stored. So there are 3 methods within our application to perform this functionality, actually 4 when you think about bulk processing, 2. But we can meet your needs in every single way. And by the way, one department could be using the cover letter as shown right here. Another department could be using, or somebody working from home could be using pre-printed labels. Others could be generating the barcode label as you see over here, and also generating the postage along with that within the same exact company. So you have flexible workflows. You have elimination of handwriting. You're just either typing the address in or importing your address information in the application. It's a very simplified and standardized process, which clients enjoy. So the cover page is probably the most common. It's one-step processing. You're generating a cover page, which is the control page, if you will, that has the article number, your address information, destination address information, even the postage, all in one piece of paper. You take the rest of your papers going to that individual, you fold it in half or in thirds, or maybe it's a 9 by 12, and you just put it in the envelope, and you're done. You're literally done at that point. You can deposit it to the post office, drop it in the mailbox, take it to the post office, or just send it to the mail center for them to take care of the business, because you can do these in any part of your business. You can do them if you're working remotely from home like I have for the last 13 years. You can do them if you're in the office. You can do them if you're at the mail center. It's a very simple process. And it is a unique envelope that's used in this process, which I'll cover off on. There's also the pre-printed labels. So no special stock, no supply costs. We give these away for free. And our supplies don't even charge shipping for that matter. We're using a pre-printed label and you're scanning it. And then you're obviously creating the mail piece on your side, but you're obviously getting the address information within the application along with that barcode label information. And then obviously you can print a barcode at the desktop on a printer that's designed to print. The green is already on that label. So you have that piece. And then last but not least, we do have mail merge for batches. So if you need to do 100 cover letters, for instance, you can import a list of 100, and then you can just print out the cover letters. If you want to do the full mail merge and just get back the articles to build the mail merge, you can do that as well within the application. So we're very flexible in how clients do it. Now, it may be that one department does multitudes and needs the mail merge, but another department has people working remotely, maybe collections. They may just send 1 letter or 2 letters a week, and they don't have all those needs. They just have basic needs. So then, maybe the pre-printed label is best for them. But it's whatever you want to do. It is the same process from a standardized closed loop process overall, even though the initial steps are different. So cover letter, pretty simple. And I'm going to take you through the application itself. But here's an image of it. So certified mail, you're going to select or enter your address information, put in your weight, say it's a 1 ounce piece. And if you want to put any reference in there, like I said, tax ID or reference, that goes right in here. You can also account for your spend right here. And I'm going to take you to the live application. And you just print the cover letter. Very, very simple. The other process is use the pre-printed label. Scan that barcode you see there, the 948000900. That's why scanning is important versus typing in that number. but that's why the post office does, and we also separate them on the actual label itself to make it easy to chunk in the numbers. And then you're going to process it that way and generate postage as well. And then, like I said, the last piece here is, generating the actual barcode. And then the very last piece is then the batch process to literally build the piece. So you can import a list of, say, 100 or 1,000, and we have clients doing both, and a lot of them doing both. And then we can just output just the PDF document for each individual record, and we drop it in a zip file with a master file. Or we can generate the postage and also generate the article number in JPEG form, again with a master file, and you can build the mail piece as you see from here. And then obviously you have your other white space to include what you need to include in the letter. So those are many ways to do it within the application. So I'm going to go actually into the application now. I want to share that.
One question.
Yep.
Can you give to your mail center to apply postage and just use the system for everything else?
As a standard of the post office and requirements around certified return receipt in our applications, they're requiring you to generate the postage at time of mailing. That being said, I can do a ship request, so I can have the piece generated from a standpoint of information to the mail center and let the mail center finish the process. So you can do something called a ship request, and I will cover off on that, which would then require them still to generate the postage in the mail center, but we can do that as well. So ship request, to answer the question, is here. So instead of actually doing the cover letter, you're basically saying, I want this piece to Aaron, to go return receipt certified mail. Here's my tax ID number for them, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then they would just print the ship request and attach this to the envelope. So all you do is print this piece of paper, and then the mail center would go into this app when they got the mail piece and finish the process. So ship request is just a simple form with a barcode that allows them to look up the record. And of course, my internet's going to be slow this afternoon. Okay, here we go. So you would just attach this to the mail piece. It gets to the mail center. They could apply the barcode for you, or they could do the cover, whatever you want to do. They could print a barcode, but they would have to then take care of the postage side in the mail center itself. But yes, you can do everything. So when this comes to the mail center, they're going to scan this barcode. It's going to populate all your sending information and all your sender information, rather, and your receiving information automatically in the app, and then they would finish the process of the certified piece for you. Is that helpful, Christine?
Yeah, Brian says thank you for that.
You're very welcome. Good question, Brian. Keep them coming. So coming back to certified mail. So if I want to do a certified mail piece, I hit create certified. I'm not the best typist you've ever met. I'm honest about it. So I'm just going to grab an address. We'll go to Agnes. You'll notice that I have an address already in my address book, so I'm good to go. But you also notice the address is verified. Now, here's your address information. But down below, if I want to email the tracking number to the recipient and the sender, I can do it. So I can actually include emails here, and I also can include an email when it's delivered. So when it's delivered, I'm going to get an email that it's been delivered. As the sender, I can have the email go to the recipient too, whatever I want to do. So it's a good customer service closed loop process. I then put in my weight, say it's a 1 ounce piece, and I want the tax ID number on here. So tax ID 128899. And I am defaulting to a number 10 envelope, very common, but if I need to be in a 6x9, I can change it. If I want to be in a 9x12, I can change it. And you'll notice in this image here that the green bar piece is already on the envelope, and they're available through our supplies department at Pitney Bowes, and they can come, a series of them can come with your order when you do order the application as well. Now, right down here is your detailed cost, and your detailed cost is going to include your first class letter rate, your certified rate, and your electronic return receipt rate. And that's the savings there of $1.35. So it's breaking out all the costs. So it's a 1 ounce is 63 cents. Certified mail is $4.35 at this point, and the return receipt electronic is $2.20 versus $3.55. Amazing how the costs have gone up on this piece, right? But you have $1.35 savings here, and you basically hit print cover sheet. And the system is going to automatically print the cover sheet. I'm going to get a dialog box because I'm showing it to you. Otherwise, it's just going to print to your printer, your network to at your home or your office within your network. I mean, whatever printer you're defaulting to, it's going to use that. It's just going to generate the cover sheet. My internet wants to stop bogging down at the moment. And you are completed at that point in time. So very straightforward process, very, very easy process to do within the application. And there it finally goes. Of course, when I change screens. So you'll see here, you have your certified article number on the piece of paper. You have your postages involved here, destination address, and then obviously your sending address as well is on that piece of paper. The rest of the material goes behind it. You fold it appropriately in the envelope size, or don't fold it all if it's a 9 by 12, and you're literally done. So if I'm not talking to you and I'm doing a certified mail piece, I come in, I grab my address information. I can search addresses too. We'll just go search. I can just go search for Tom Hazel, Pitney Bowes. And I'm literally got my weight in here, 1 ounce. I got my reference in here, and I'm done. So it took me, what, a handful of seconds, and I'm quickly that quick through it versus handwriting out the card, handwriting to the other side of the card, peeling stickers, applying these to the mail piece, applying the card to the mail piece. So your savings in time is significant, 3 to 4 minutes, depending upon your speed of process overall, and you're that quickly done the process. So I'll pause there a second. And now I'll shift into using a pre-printed barcode to label. So the same mail piece, I've just done the same thing. And I have a label that I'm going to scan. I have in my bag. I didn't bring them out, Christine. I forgot all about it. So I'm just going to scan the number. And that quickly, I got the number in with a simple scanner. Any scanner works. It's just a human interface device scanning a barcode like anything else. And I can just print and process postage. I can print direct to the envelope. I can print to a cube, which is a product like this behind me that actually includes a 15-pound scale, and it'll print out the postage stamp for me here, or I can print to a stamp sheet. So it'll print directly on a stamp sheet, no special ink. It's just simply printing on a peel and stick stamp that you can apply, and you can use any printer to do it, and then your postage is completed and you are done. So if I hit print, it's just going to print to a stamp sheet in any given printer that you are utilizing overall. And that's how quickly that happens as well. In generating, as soon as I go back, it's going to do that every time, Christine. So there's your postage that you just peel stick off a stamp, just like that. Now, the other method, obviously, I talked about is generating the barcode. Out of a printer that has the green bar, we'll go to atom. We'll go for a different atom. I put in my tracking information, my reference field, if you will, and I say print barcode label. It's just going to print to the printer the barcode label, and then it's going to have you print the postage as well. So it completes the process quite very quickly, very easily. Now, let's go back to that other question earlier about the ship request, which is a great question. So in the case of the ship request, I'm in the mail center. I've got that ship request in my hand. Now, I didn't remember the number, but I'm going to cheat. And I'm just going to grab the number that's there. That was the ship request we did. So I'm in the mail center now, and I'm going to finish the mail piece. So I'm going to say I weighed it. It's a 1 ounce mail piece. And I'm just going to use a pre-printed label because I got one right here. I'll apply it to the piece, and I'm done. That's simple. I'm done. And then I just print the postage. So again, I can print the postage and add this little cube device like I talked about. That has a weighing device here and a printer. Labels come out here. No ink in that either, by the way. And off I go. So pretty simple to process the ship request as well. The key for the post office is they want to tie the postage to the record so that they can avoid any thought process capability opportunity for any type of postal fraud. Postal fraud is a real serious thing right now. The country is being flooded with imitation stamps, also imitation labels for priority mail and express mail and ground advantage services the post office offers. So everything they can do to head off that, to ensure all products that are supplied by vendors that generate postage of time of record is exactly what they're after. So that's the important piece of generating postage for the post office. It's actually a part of their plan to eliminate counterfeiting and fraud of postage, which is a real situation for them today. So that's how you process certifieds within the application. Christina, any other questions in the queue at the moment?
Someone just asked, are the stamp sheets supplied at no cost also?
No, stamp sheets, they're at a cost. It's 100 and I want to say 120 stamps. I think they're under $5 for a package of them. They're not an expensive item. They are serialized, which is important because that's a part of the post office tracking mechanism. But no, they are not provided free. These labels the pre-printed labels are in fact provided by Pitney Bowes for free. And then there's also a cost for those full window envelopes as well. But it's probably roughly 5 cents more than your standard envelope cost. And obviously, you look at your standard envelope cost and how many you're going out certified, your savings, if you lost 5 cents, you're saving $1.30 versus $1.35. So it's not a dramatic difference.
I would agree. Usually it's just a 5 cent difference. And then we had somebody comment that they already have the solution, but they weren't aware of all the features. So they didn't have ship request and they didn't have the email notification option.
They have it. They didn't know they had it, probably.
Yes, but I said we can, work with that and help them get that.
Christine can reach out to you herself and follow up with you. Absolutely. Now, as you look at the screen, this is the landing page for certified mail. Down here is all my recent activities. So I can look at all my recent activities. If I gave the post office, the mail center ship request, I can look at my active ship request. Did they process my ship request? Did they do it? So I can actually see if they did it. So I can see if it's been processed. I can see if it's not been processed. Now I could already gotten an email because I was the sender, but that's up to me. And then I can see every single one of my certified return receipts. That was another question. These are just my return receipt certifieds. They are no one else's certifieds. They're mine. Now, I can look at it departmentally in a search, but this is my own. So that was another question. Can I see my certifieds? And the answer is yes, you can. They're all right here in front of you. And you see the information. Now, going to research one. So maybe you have a number you want to research. We'll pick this number and I'll just come in here and paste it. And I want to see, what's the status of this. In this case, this certified return receipt mail piece. So I can copy it like I did, paste it, and there I go. I see my signature. That is my signature of this one. So I got a signature record. Maybe I want to email it. I can hit the email feature and I can email it to myself. I can hit the download feature and I can just download it if I want. Completely up to me what I want to do around the information and my access to the information. But that's also a way to search these individual records in the application. So I'm going to bring it up now. So this is a certified return receipt done in 2022. You see the date here was issued. You see the actual signature here that was recorded. This is how they signed the mail piece. So that's their piece as well. And again, if they used a reference field, that would be on the bottom here as well. So you're going to have all that right in front of you within the application. Of course, it loads twice. Go figure. So that's as simple as that is. It's very, very easy overall. But if I want to look at a history of a lot of certifieds, I just come to the sending, shipping, and mailing, and I come here to proof of delivery. So this is all my certifieds. So you see the same exact ones we just did earlier, and I can drill down on them individually, and I can see them, that there's no proof of delivery yet, so there's no signature available. Well, I just sent it, right? So, but you see all the information on the certified mail piece. But I can export this if I want to, so I know every one I've done. I can date range it for the last 30 days. I mean, I have all this information at my fingertips, very easy, and I can search in many ways. So if I want to look up one for Doe, I can just search John Doe, and there's all the ones for John Doe. Just easy and simple as that. So it's all completely searchable within the application. So those records can be looked up quickly and efficiently. And then obviously see the locations here that who did them, because in this case, we're not filtering, but we can filter this as well. But it gets even better though. I can actually look at it from status. I can see what's been delivered, what's returned to sender. The only way you know that mail piece is coming back is if you individually researched it. You'd have to go research it with the USPS, or it shows up, weeks later with return to sender stamp, but you get the finger coming back at you. So that's the only way you'll know. Not anymore. In this application, it'll show you every one is going to be returned to sender. That's never getting delivered. So you have that information. So it's a very important thing to have. Delivery attempt. Delivery attempt, the post office literally used to make 3 attempts to deliver a mail piece with certified return receipt. Those days are over. They make 1 attempt, and they leave a piece of paper that's orange in your mailbox, and it tells you to go to the Bradenton post office to pick up the mail piece. Now, some postmasters keep that mail piece for a week, and no one comes for it, they send it back. Some keep it for 2, some keep it for 3, some keep it for 4. It depends on the postmaster. The domestic mail manual, which is as big as the New York City phone book, isn't specific to how long they should hold it. So some of them just make up their own rules. So you also have that as a case too. In transit means just that, still in transit. But if you want to say, show me every return receipt with a signature, you can go, show me the return receipts with signature, and you would have a record of all. Now, if I'm looking at all certified mail, just all return receipts, I can get that too. So I can look at any different way I want. I can say, show me without signature. I would see that too. So it's variable what you want to do. If I go with signature, you'll notice I get this new button here called download. I can download all those records in a zip file. So if I wanted the last 3 days of my certifieds, it will download that file for you in a zip drive. And you have all those certifieds for the month. And then they're all named individually. So the first part of the naming right is the reference field. Then it's dot, article number, underscore date. So if you're using reference, it's a part of the naming of each individual PDF record. That allows you to save and store in your systems easily and simply. So it's a great little tool to manage getting the data out of your system, maintaining all delivery levels, and as things change, they're all going to be updated. So I would look at all statuses and all ERRs, that I've sent. You'll notice you have a couple of things here in line. The status. The status will change based upon the post office scan efforts. So if they change any scan efforts, you'll see that change in the application, which is how we give you all these statuses. So that's how that works within the application. So you see this information, and you also see the reference field I entered. So you see the cost account I billed it to, and then you also see the actual reference itself.
Tom, while you're there, somebody had asked about searching by reference number. So you can search by reference number, and it will show up there.
100% will show up there too. Great. These are great questions.
Someone else wanted you to show how you got to the history screen.
Okay. So I'm right here. I can go from here too. I go to here, and there, here, and there's my history right here. And we actually are having a user group next week for our current customers, where we're going to show some ideas around moving some of this around and make it easier to get to, or more intuitive that you would find it simpler. Let's say it that way. But it's under history. So if you go proof of delivery, these are all your certifieds right here. All your certifieds are right here. So you have that capability to do that as well. So if I want to look at everything I've done, I can look at everything I've done. So I have views of that too. If I just want to look at my proof of delivery, which is my certified, I have that as well within the application. So you have all the information. If you want to make a copy of any article numbers, you simply click on the copy button, and now it's copied, waiting to be pasted somewhere. I could come back into it, open up a search, and I could paste that into there, and it's going to take you to the USPS, obviously, to track. It's not going to find anything because I just created the tracking number. That's all there was to it back in the day. So simple as that. These are all dummy numbers, go figure, right? But I can view the details in USPS too. So very, very simple to do that, and copy paste that information over as well. So good questions, really good questions. So I was going to show these other slides, but I actually took you through it live. But essentially, you know, you have your view, you have your search, you have your signatures. So that information is all there within the application. Now, as a part of this application is other features and benefits. You can obviously see some of those tabs. So if you just need to print a stamp, not do a certified piece, just print stamps. You have people working remotely. And I would tell you that in 90% of the companies today, major and minor, you know, major, middle, small corporations, it's easier to send a FedEx or UPS overnight than to send a letter. Just easier. So what do people do? They send it overnight. So you literally can give people access to don't do certified, just to print stamps on demand if they need to. That's up to you. You know, either with the cube, which I've talked about a couple of times, print directly to an envelope, or do those little stamp peel and stick situations. You can do it in this app. You can also use this app if you wish to send packages and get discounts from the post office. So for priority mail, you know, you have opportunities there for UPS, for FedEx, or even DHL International. It can rate for everyone utilizing your information, your account information from UPS and FedEx, getting your rates, calling your rates through an API called to the carrier, and it's our postal discounted rates. So if I go flat rate priority mail, you know, I can go a flat rate envelope, so it's one single cost. I grab my address information. I keep on going to Aaron because he's at the top. I'm going to go to Allison because I want to mix it up. And what you see here is what is the net cost is $760. The reason you're getting a discount from retail, which is $965, and you're saving $2.05, is because you're not meter taping that. You're not going to the post office. You're electronically submitting the information, so you're getting a discounted rate from the post office. So in this case, with a simple flat rate envelope, you're saving $2.05 off of retail cost. And then you can generate this on a plain piece of paper, attach it to the envelope, and you're literally done. And you are getting the commercial pricing. And we offer commercial pricing for priority mail, express overnight with the post office, and their new Ground Advantage program, which is their less than a pound, or ground services. So priority mail actually flies with FedEx. FedEx flies all priority mail for the post office as an ironic twist. So it even has that capability in the application to do those types of things as well. So I'm going to pause there, Christine. I do want to cover off on one other thing, though, before we start the Q&A. So if you also are involved with the carriers, there is an upcoming webinar that we're holding. Once again, it's that time of year where the carriers, UPS, USPS, and the Postage joined this recently as well, where during the holiday season, or peak they call it, there are additional surcharges. Now, a lot of clients don't realize that this applies to you no matter what you're sending. Whether you're sending paper or you're sending product, everybody pays carrier surcharges. So this isn't just for the e-commerce side of the world, it's for everybody who sends with the post office or UPS or FedEx. We do have ways we can help you avoid some of those costs within our application that I just demonstrated for certified. And, you know, Christine, if you could, I can put this link in the chat. So if you want to register for this event, which is next week on the 19th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, David Bilodeau and myself will go over ways to what it's about and ways to save, and therefore ship or send smarter. I'm also on LinkedIn, as you clearly can see. If you care to link in with me, I post a lot of information about the carrier rate changes and ways to avoid costs. I post out these webinars so you can take advantage of them when the carriers change their rates, which will be in November, December this year. Once again, we'll be doing a webinar because the carrier rate goes up in December, all the carriers, and Postos is January. And also keep up with just standard mail increases, which is July. So that is available, and we'll put that in the chat. So if you want to just copy it out of the chat, you could certainly do so. So with that, Christine, I want to do that, so I don't forget to do that.
Okay.
And then open it up for you.
Yeah, I see one more question here. How do you create a mailing book with proof of mailing round post office stamp?
Ah, perfect. Great question. These guys are crack, Christine. I'll tell you what. You pulled in a great crowd. So there's two things you can do. You can do one of two. Well, I would recommend both. There's something called a USPS scan form. So the USPS scan form is an electronic document that has a big barcode on it. And it would contain all your certified mail pieces for the day in an electronic record file. So say you had 55 of them you did today. You take your firm mailing book for them to round stamp it, and you take your scan form with you too. When they scan that form, all 55 mail pieces are inducted. The post office loves you because they don't have to scan every single piece at that post office. That one barcode scan took all 55 in at once. So they love the scan form. And then there's also the firm mailing book, right? So you want to print the firm mailing book. The firm mailing book is a list of every certified return receipt electronic you're doing, the name, the address, the postage amount, all that information in a list. It's literally a form, if you will. Think of an Excel. And I think there's 10 or 20 a page. So it'll print out all the certifieds for that department, for that individual, for that company. If the mail center's doing it, end of day, when they take all the pieces at once. But you can generate the firm mailing book by just clicking right there in the application. Since we don't transmit, you're not going to see, anything pop up on the screen, since we can't actually transmit to the post office. It doesn't generate it that way. And the last thing I'll cover very quickly is we talked about, batches. There is an import ERR. So you're going to basically import those certifieds in as a records, like I talked about earlier. So you're basically going to upload the file. And basically, we give you the templates here. So CSV and Excel are the two templates available. And you would just complete the templates, copy, paste if you have to, whatever you got to do. And then download the subcarrier account information, which you do it once and save it because it's yours. It's not going to change. And then you plug that information in and off you go. And it's just going to generate those mail merge pieces, whichever way you requested them. So that's how that would work as well. So with that, Christine, I will hand it over to you for any other questions that may have surfaced during our conversation.
I think that was the last one, but, speak now or forever hold your peace. So I don't know if anybody has any remaining questions or needs clarification on something. If not now, I put my email address in the chat, or you could reach out to your Pitney Bowes representative for more information on this solution. And I thank you for joining us today.
No, we appreciate your time. You could have been many other places today. So
yes,
thank you sincerely for joining us. This has been recorded. So a copy of this will go to you, along with a PDF copy of the document I just covered. In many cases, we find our clients need to share this information internally, so that will be made available. And Maureen, thank you for that. That was very nice of you. She said it was a very informative webinar. with an exclamation point. So I got, I can't go away without one exclamation point. So that see that smile? That's happiness right there. So thank you for your comment. We appreciate it. With that, I guess we can wrap it up, Christine. Have a good day, everyone.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar on Certified Mail Made Easy. I'm 𝒂𝒏𝒕, and I am a shipping specialist at Pitney Bowes, supporting New England and New York State, and I'll be your host for today's session. Before we begin, I'd like to go over a couple of housekeeping items. First, I hope you can all hear me clearly. If at any point you experience an issue, please just let us know in the chat box and our technical team will assist. Next, we encourage you to participate throughout the webinar actively. We've scheduled a Q&A session at the end, but also feel free to share your questions or comments during the presentation and we can address them as they come up. And lastly, please keep your mics muted during the webinar. And now, without further ado, I'm pleased to introduce our esteemed guest, Tom Hazel. We are fortunate to have him here with us today to share his valuable insights and practical tips. Tom is the VP of our Carrier Solutions, and he has 37 years of expertise in equipment service, sales, carrier software solutions, logistics, operations, e-commerce shipping, and leadership, and probably 20 other things I'm leaving out. He currently collaborates with our product development, engineering, and education teams to enhance client understanding of our cloud-based shipping and mailing solutions. His dedication to sharing his knowledge is evident through his client educational webinars, such as we're having today, and industry event appearances, including speaking engagements at NACOMS, CUMSA, and Postal Customer Council events. Tom, thanks so much for joining us today. We're excited to have you here, and I'm sure the audience is eager to learn more about how we can help with certified mail return receipt.
All right, Christine, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And maybe 10 or more, not 20. We'll see what goes. See what goes. So thanks, everyone, for your time today. Appreciate it. Time's so valuable. We never have enough of it in any given day. And if Monday's an off day, then the rest of the week's a nightmare. So we appreciate you, and we appreciate your time today. But as Christine said, this is your webinar. So if you have questions, feel free to ask them. Raise your hand. If you need clarity around anything I'm talking about, we encourage that because this is an opportunity for us to answer live with you. Of course, we can, get back to you later if you wish, if you're feeling shy today. So, but we have you covered no matter what.